for the sake of editing purposes, I could go, hi, I'm Megan.
Hi, I'm Nix.
And we both did our yoga teacher training here at Luna Yoga in Montreal. And we just wanted to walk you through our experience, both having done different years. Nicola, you did your teacher training in
2024-2025 cohort.
And I completed the 2025-2026 cohort, so I just graduated.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're late. So I guess we'll get right into it.
Yeah.
So I know that you started your teacher training not necessarily wanting to teach, or that wasn't the main motivation behind going into it. So yeah, what were your motivations to get involved with the teacher training?
I think at its core, it was to teach myself more about yoga. I've been practicing yoga not long after I moved to Montreal, which was summer of 2013, but I did my first yoga class in the January of 2014. And I can't count how many times I've unrolled my mat since then. So I think in the same way that yoga found me, that brought me into a studio all those years ago, and certainly having since joined Luna and being such an active member here, just felt that it was, that a natural progression of my yoga journey.
Yeah, like the next step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A natural next step.
Yeah.
But you knew from the onset, right? And we've had these discussions over time that teaching was kind of very much the direction that you wanted to take.
Yeah, I always dreamed of being a yoga teacher. I have a lot of friends who are yoga teachers, but I always looked at them like, oh, maybe that's for them and it's not for me, So I think going into a teacher training, it was very much, is this the right thing for me? Like, do I actually have something unique to bring to my students? Am I, there's a lot of self-doubt there, but I think I really did want to teach at the end of the day, and I just wanted to share the practice with other people. Similar to you, I think I started practicing yoga around 2013, 2014. I was fresh in university, sort of used it as a way to de-stress and, never really learned about breath work or asana practice before. And it was just such a great way for me to de-stress and get back into my body after being in my brain for so long every day. And I just always loved it, and just the benefits that it brought me in my life, my personal life, and stress management and feeling better in my body too, more energetic from practicing flows and everything. And so I knew that I always wanted to share that with somebody. And when I started actually doing my yoga teacher training here at Luna, I quickly realized that, maybe I can teach.
So it was a validation that it was what you wanted to do, and and a bit of building confidence.
Definitely, definitely had to build my confidence to start. Because I think everyone sort of has that imposter syndrome when they go into it.
I know I did.
Yeah.
I know I do.
And maybe it never really fully goes away, Maybe it's years down the line, and so many years into teaching, you finally feel confident. But I think it's mostly a workup for most people to be like, I can teach. But the program here at Luna and all of the instructors, they just give you so much support. And
absolutely, that's very much my experience as well.
Yeah, and they believe in you, and if they see great potential in you, they'll give you great feedback and kind of tell you or help you progress in a way that's natural to you and your natural skills. So with the help of all of the faculty, I was like, this is for me. I can teach.
And I had the pleasure of attending your first class, which was absolutely wonderful.
I was so nervous, but I loved it. Yeah, it was so nice to lead people for the first time in an actual yoga studio, because I'd been practicing with friends for a while, but it's a different experience when you're in a studio at the front of the room.
I totally get it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I think just coming back to teaching and what that actually means. You know, we typically associate it meaning being at the front of the room and guiding a class, but I think something that stood out for me since doing the teacher training is that in addition to teaching myself about it, it's not necessarily about being up front in the room.
Yeah.
It's about a casual conversation in the workplace. It's about you know, integrating it into your everyday. It's become more of a living practice than just something that I do on my mat. And it is teaching. Yoga is the teacher, right? And it continues to teach me things every day, every practice.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it, is that you think you're going onto your mat for a physical practice or just to get out of your head, but you know, I think most people that practice yoga regularly can speak to that. They learn something new every time they step on their mat, or if they were on their mat and the teacher really said something that hit home, then they're thinking about it later, and you know, they internalize it and they learn something from that a little bit later, you know, while they're either doing their job throughout the day or they're washing the dishes. It'll just kind of come up like, oh yeah, like that was a really great point, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But speaking of all of that, what surprised you most about like your teacher training experience?
So when I actually signed up a week before the training started. I'd hear them talk about promoting the next cohort after, you know, in the build up to the start after each class, and it was kind of like that little voice that became louder and louder and louder, and eventually I signed up. But because I signed up just a week before, I literally just jumped in wholeheartedly with complete faith that it was the right decision in the right place with the right community. I didn't go through a process of researching. I just knew it to be true that this is where I was meant to be. So what surprised me, having jumped in with very little knowledge from the onset, what I signed up for, which almost sounds bizarre, but sometimes the heart just pulls you in, was the diversity of the syllabus. You know, despite having practiced yoga for so many years, I almost, in retrospect, feel a little bit naive that all those years I was just so focused on the physical practice, on the asanas. Excuse me, but understanding the philosophy and the anatomy and you know, energetic anatomy as well, meditation. We've spoken about that as well. And how, you know, we come in on that first night and we start with an opening circle and everyone's a little bit timid. We've all come from different walks of life. We're all in different seasons. And then 10 months later, when you've completed those 200 hours, the real sense of community that's been built. And that's actually sustained us beyond the training, at least with our cohort. You know, we're really sort of supporting each other's journeys, whether that's teaching in whatever shape or form.
That's so nice. So you all keep in contact?
Yeah, a good bunch of us have, which is really nice. And a lot of them are active members of the studio as well. So,
so you see them when you come to class?
Exactly. Yeah.
And do you know how many of them started actually teaching versus like what avenues did they go down, people from your cohort?
I know that there's, I don't know the exact number, but for sure there's a good handful that are actively teaching, and in different shapes or forms. Some are doing it more for friends or family, some started here at Luna, some have gone on to teach at Luna as well as other studios. Myself, I'm still dabbling in it a little bit. I did my 2 community classes and have done a couple of classes for friends. There's now a possibility to maybe teach in the workplace. So thank you, Luna, for continuously taking me a little bit out of my...
challenging me.
This is challenging me, being on the side of the camera. But yeah, it's really nice to see how people are I guess taking it beyond just those 200 hours, and it's never really finished, right? And I think that's kind of the point. Fundamentally, first and foremost, we are the student first before we are the teacher, and that's a life's work, I think.
100%. And I think you're always a student even after you complete a 200-hour teacher training. So there's just so much to learn in the yoga space, and you see it online. It's like 200-hour training, then a 300-hour training, and you can really specialize in what it is that piques most of your interest. So it can be really daunting in trying to decide, but I think like just getting started on that first 200-hour, and you lay the basis, you get all of the groundwork, I guess, all of the like main bits of what yoga is at its core. And then from that basis, you can decide, okay, well, I'm really interested in meditation. Let me go and do a complete training in meditation.
That's the benefit of the diversity of the
syllabus. Exactly. Or I know I really want to be a yin teacher. So then you go and look for a training for yin, and Luna has one that I plan to do in June.
Well, there we go.
It's, you take what you can from the training and really learn about what it is that you're most interested in the yoga space.
When I signed up, there was a part of me that thought 200 hours. Wow, like it's a big number, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a commitment.
It is a commitment, and that's the time in studio, and of course added to that is the time that you sit with your yoga, and I mean, there's a practical aspect in terms of assessments and those good things. But what I very much liked was the fact that it was spread over 10 months and it wasn't condensed into like a month or whatever. For me, everyone's lifestyles and daily lives, commitments are different. But one weekend a month that still gave you like half a morning on a Saturday and a Sunday was for me very, very manageable. So I appreciated that. And then also it allows you to perhaps take advantage of other trainings or initiatives or workshops that are going on at the studio as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the 10-month course just because you don't really have to put your life on hold. I have friends that have gone abroad and done a 30-day stint somewhere and done their 200-hour teacher training within those 30 days. But it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of content to digest in just 30 days. And so I became really appreciative of going through the whole 10 months and having one topic per weekend, per month, essentially. And being able to sit with that and actually study it and have time to say, if we were doing anatomy, for example, for one weekend, just go dive deep into anatomy, go home, study it, and just try to take it in as much as possible. But if you're doing a fast track program, say within like 2 weeks or 30 days, you don't really have the time to digest each topic. So I really appreciated having the full month to just, before you started in on another topic, to just like think about that and look over the text and really put that into practice. Like I would go home and practice with my husband, like, oh, you're scapulating the protract.
Shout out to all the respective partners. They're very much part of the journey, and let's not forget them.
Definitely. So I found it good for me, and as someone that really wants to take as much as I can from the practice and from the training. I just felt like 30 days would be a whirlwind for me. So having the 10 months, 1 weekend a month was just so easily digestible for me and very realistic.
The pace kind of worked.
100%.
Just coming back to your question earlier about what teaching looks like for us, and as much as I'm not standing up at the front of the room doing as many classes as such, something that surprised me most was we started a process in the teacher training of doing journaling at the beginning of a lot of the sessions, and I'd never journaled before, and I'll be honest by saying that some of those sessions, they were never particularly long, but some of them felt a little bit uncomfortable, like what to write, what to say.
Yeah.
Am I just filling this space, or I'll just sit quietly?
Mm-hmm.
And come the end of the teacher training, I would say that yoga didn't necessarily get bigger for me, but it got deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is it really heightened my awareness in class, and as a result of that I was really able to almost like embody the class after the fact as well. There would be something inevitably that either the teacher would say, or a side conversation with a fellow member, or somebody smiling at reception when you walked in, that would really stick with me. And then I started writing about that, and that is now evolved into a beautiful collaboration with Luna to write a regular blog on a monthly basis. And it's nice to be part of a community that practices yoga, but also to be part of a community of voices on the blog. So these are outlets that I never would have anticipated. I guess my message here is that there's so much more than just, and I use the word just with the utmost respect, there's so much more than guiding a class.
Yeah, absolutely. Than being in a studio and teaching a physical practice, you know? You're able to enlighten people through your words and through the blog, and you know, that in itself I think is a form of teaching as well. Because you're saying, hey, I practice yoga, here's what I learned on my mat or off my mat, and it could probably benefit you too. And you know, we've had plenty of people that have came up to you at the studio saying, you know, I love your blog, like it really hit home to me, and like so many things that you've written have hit home to me. So I think it's like,
thanks for sharing.
And like I think
you never quite know, right? You sort of you put it out from a good place, and if it meets someone where it needed to be, where they needed to be met, then there's a beauty and a power in that, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, you can have that impact as well by teaching, you know, asana practice in a studio, or you can have it in so many other ways, like with your writing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good thing for anyone who's considering a teacher training, and maybe they're a little intimidated by being in front of the classroom, to think, you know, how else can I teach? You know, how else can I like bring this practice into practice for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
How can you be more in relationship with yoga? In your daily life.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people just choose to, you know, embark on a teacher training program for their own personal growth as well, and I think that's also great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen so many people from my cohort that just wanted to go in and deepen their own practice, learn more about yoga for them, and also to grow in their personal lives in the XYZ way. And it's amazing the growth that I've seen in some of my fellow trainees. Like one of the girls just went in because she was saying that she really wanted to feel more confident in her life, and this was a next challenge, you know, something to push herself to do and get out of her comfort zone and force herself to be in a group of people once a month, every weekend, which was something out of her comfort zone.
Yes.
And you could just see it, like she just really came into herself throughout the 10 months, and it was beautiful watching her become more confident. And you know, as someone that's more naturally introverted, she was, you know, making great connections and sparking up conversations and really getting out of that comfort zone.
To have built that sense of community, that you feel that level of comfort and confidence to build your confidence.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think Luna as a studio does a really good job of that, of just making you feel at home. And you know,
home from home.
Yeah. And like little things of like remembering your name and remembering little details about you, and the instructors actually are invested in you and want to know you as people. And so when you come in and you have that sort of environment, you feel safe to practice the way that your body's allowing you to show up that day, and also just to have fun, you know. And I think if you're seen and you have this safe environment to practice in, like you're more likely to challenge yourself and just like release and take what you need
Yeah.
from a practice. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. So with that, I'm looking forward to seeing where we are in
Me too.
the not too distant future. And I guess for anyone who's out there who may hear that whisper, maybe just to lean in, to be curious, and maybe you don't have to have it fully researched or figured out, at least in my case, and just trust and jump right in, or if you're a person that prefers to do your due diligence, as it were. I wish them well in their yoga journey going forward.
Yeah, me too. And if anyone that's considering doing a teacher training, whether here at Luna or elsewhere, feel free to come into the studio. Me and Nix practice here all the time, and we'll probably be in a class. So if you see us, just come up and ask us any questions you have. We're more than happy to chat with you about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Till next time.